Welcome to Climbing Together, the Small Business Experience. I'm Beth Houtrow, the founder of Climb the Small Business Book Club, and our episode today is brought to us by the Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center of the San Francisco Bay Area. Every episode, I talk to a small business owner about a mistake that they've made and what they learned from the experience. Mistakes are inevitable, perfection's impossible. So let's embrace the mistake. And today we're so excited to welcome Kia Tattegrain to the podcast. Kia, tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Sure. So I'm so excited to be here. I am an entrepreneur. I assist nonprofits with their development. And then I also am a nonprofit founder myself. And so both sides of the coin, allowing me to learn more about other nonprofits that are developing and help them and assist them in that process. And then also running a nonprofit. So Electivate partners with nonprofits in their initial stages, as well as developing to focus on strategy and planning, as well as marketing, communications, and fundraising. And then my organization, Dare Humanity, serves families and youth in Haiti. And we are so excited to be able to serve and to give back to the people of Haiti.
Yeah, and I know things have been really difficult in Haiti these days. So important that you are doing the work that you're doing. Yeah. All right. Well, okay. We are here to talk about mistakes. So talk to me about a mistake that you made in your business or early on that, you learned a lot from.
Sure. So one of the mistakes I made is comparing, but also equating numbers to success. So I think entrepreneurship is glamorized and okay, people are saying, and this is how I made $1 million in a year.
Mm-hmm.
And well, that's not always the story for everyone. And so I was equating numbers to success, thinking I need to chase after clients, chase after the next person, and then realizing that that's not what success looks like. And then determining what does success look like for my business, and let me draw the line and create this gap in between what the world is saying success is and what I believe success is. And so once realizing that, I was reflecting and saying, well, this leads to burnout. So I don't want burnout anymore. Let me make sure that I eliminate these things. It also led to insecurity. Let me make sure I'm confident in what I do, that I don't think that every client should be mine. In fact, you don't want every client to be yours. And then it led to comparison. And with comparison, there's just so many things that can come against you as an individual and as a business. So if I consider the population of the world, and then we dial it down to how many businesses there are or how many customers and potential customers, then you think about, well, I'm not actually competing with other individuals. I am going to stay in my lane. I know that my audience is my audience. My customers, my clients are going to be for me.
Yeah. And I imagine for you, kind of the impact that you're making is a bigger driver maybe than some of the numbers.
Yeah,
is that true?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. Well, and I think that's such an important thing for so many people to hear, because like you said, social media is just a land of inundation of this is how much money I made. Also, my big note to people is that they're telling you their revenue numbers, really their profit numbers. And so, right, we don't actually know how much money they took home. We just know how much revenue they made. But even those numbers don't need to be. Certainly, I'm not looking to have $1 million in revenue. That's not, I mean, if someone wanted to give me $1 million, lovely, but that's not the kind of business I want to run. Yeah. And so I really respect, finding what's your version of success. That's awesome. Yeah. Amazing. Okay. So beyond that, what is one piece of advice you give to entrepreneurs as they're just getting started, whether with a nonprofit or a for-profit business?
Yeah, I would say do not compare. Don't get caught up in this business is doing this. I know that in the business space, it's a lot of market analysis and competitive analysis, and I agree with that. But then I also take what I learn and observe from others, and I say, okay, how can this apply to my business? Or how can I make my business different? So I observe to be inspired, but not in the sense of I need to compare and be competitive. I think getting caught up in competitiveness is really the downfall to a lot of businesses. And again, it goes back to burnouts. It goes back to insecurity because you think you need to be like the next person. So being confident in who you are, what your business offers, what you are going to present to the world, and not get caught up in comparison.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one of the things we also forget about comparison is that people are only telling you the side of the story that they want you to
Sure.
hear, right?
Right.
And we don't know the whole story. We don't know all the things that didn't go well. We don't know if it's revenue or profit. We don't know,
Mhm.
there's so much. Social media is very rarely reality. And so, yes, really embracing that idea that, one, don't compare because your circumstances are different than others, but two, also know their circumstances might not be what they're saying also
Right.
on on
Yeah.
social media and YouTube. Yeah. That's awesome. I love that advice. Okay. So this podcast is brought to us by Climb the Small Business Book Club, and our big tenets are about continual learning and community. So talk to me about how you do continual learning. What does that mean for you?
Yeah, for me, I am constantly consuming the right things. And so we think about consuming as far as food and those kinds of things, but I think about, what am I looking at? What am I listening to? What am I exposing myself to? So I have really jumped on the audiobooks because I can listen to them on the go. And then what I do is I can go through them so quickly, the books that are audio, that now I can listen to it again and listen to it again. And so I have that habit. But I also have mentors. I have mentors, whether it's a group setting
Mm,
or individual mentors. Since I am in the nonprofit and the corporate space, I have those individually. And then I also am observing leaders. I observe leaders and their habits, thinking about, and this is something that resonated with me in a clubhouse room, is build it
uh-huh.
like it's big. Build it like it's
Okay.
big. So your business may be small now, but it's going to grow. And so what can I do to get in that space in order to prepare for that growth? And so thinking about, how can I do with what I have now, and then build up to
Yeah.
that growth.
Very cool. Talk to me. Your mentors, are they people you already knew? Or did you go out and find them? A lot of people wish they had mentors, but don't know how to make that step.
Yeah. So one of my mentors, she is actually a former professor and now we're colleagues. And so she is in the nonprofit space. So she helps me with the nonprofit executive mentorship. The other individual that is a mentor to me, he is someone who is in the business space, and he is someone I met online back in
Okay.
Periscope days. And I was
Oh,
following him online, listening to his messages, and then ended up connecting. And then that's how he became a mentor. But there's also group mentorship as well. So having
yep.
those group mentorship sessions, and I prefer the more intimate groups, but you can decide. But really making sure there's an alignment with the values and the character of that person or those people before you engage with mentorship.
Yeah, that's a really great piece of advice that, like you said, everyone's version of success is different. Everyone's idea about how business should be operated is different. So make sure your mentor sees business in the world as you do. Yeah, that's
Sure.
great advice. Okay. And so our podcast is co-presented by Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center, for whom you are a coach. So tell me about your experience with Renaissance and what that's meant to you.
Sure. So I joined the Renaissance team, I guess, in a sense, as a consultant. This was 2020. So right when everything started to be online. In fact, I haven't met any of my clients yet, but hopefully this year. But I have been able to work with nonprofit startups and developing organizations, teaching classes and workshops, coaching them, but also mentoring them. I think mentorship is really important, taking what I've learned and saying, this is how I would advise you to do it, or this is how I would suggest you do it. And so working with Renaissance has been a blessing, and it's wealth of individuals, even other consultants that can assist you with a lot of the things that you may just be thinking, am I in this space by myself? Oh, let me find this group. Let me get in this class and hear from other entrepreneurs. So what Renaissance is doing is amazing, and continuing to do what they do and bringing in those experts. But then I also learn from the clients as well. So it's a blessing for me.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's so great. Your community grows so quickly as a consultant or a member of Renaissance, because you get to meet so
Yes.
many extraordinary people who are usually trying to make a difference, right, in the space in the world that they're in, and they're often very mission driven, which is very inspirational. Yeah,
Hmm.
awesome. All right, well, Kia, that was our podcast. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
This podcast is brought to you by Climb the Small Business Book Club, where entrepreneurs go to learn, discuss, apply, and grow. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to subscribe at Apple, Spotify, or Google Podcasts, or follow us on Instagram at Climb Book Club. And always remember, mistakes are inevitable, perfection's impossible. So let's embrace the mistake.